Hello, I'm Attorney Lewis Haskell, and my office has received a number of phone calls from people who have not received their stimulus checks, hoping that we can help them. This is problematic for a couple of reasons, but the big one is that there's really not very much that we can do on the stimulus, particularly when it's just, a check being held up. For one reason or another, and I'll discuss later in the video what some of those reasons might be. However, let me show you what we can do, and then rather than making a call, I suppose, you can cut out the middleman. Let me try to share my screen here. I'm not sure what that whiteboard is, but alrighty. This is the IRS website, irs.gov. And it has a lot of handy-dandy links right on its homepage. Naturally, they've put a make a payment link there so that they want to make it easy for you to give them money. In fact, I'm surprised that it's not the very first one. I don't know that this one is still good. I think the deadline for entering direct deposit info for your stimulus check has recently passed. But the link, let me just check that. The link is still there. Do not use this tool if you'll be filing a 2019 return. Actually, that is true. If you go in here and enter a payment or enter payment information, you've now said that you're a 2019 non-filer. I'm being told that if you then try to e-file a 2019 tax return, it won't take it. But there's other stuff on this homepage. View your account and get your tax record are very similar things, but it lets you get at tax transcripts and see how much you may still owe and when you were paid in the past and things like that. Get your refund status is the old "Where's my refund" link. It's the tax refund equivalent to what we're about to do, which is get my payment. And I'm just going to click on or double click on get my payment, and it takes you to this screen, which has all kinds of information about the stimulus and whatnot. But I'm specifically focused on people who have already dealt with the beginnings, whether they filed a tax return or they know that they should be directly paid because they receive Social Security or veterans benefits or something like that. They just haven't gotten their check, so they would just hit this get my payment button as well. And here is the second problem with people coming to or contacting my office asking us to check their status. The IRS does have awareness of who is going to their website. I know this because in a tax seminar that I attended not so long ago, we were told that the IRS actually views going to that where's my refund site or what's my refund status site constantly as a red flag. I guess they think that people who check their refund status every day are suspicious and are likely to have their refunds pulled aside, to be audited, to have security checks placed on them, those letters that they sometimes send out asking you to verify that you are who you are, and things like that. So that tells me that they have very good awareness of who is going into these sites and checking statuses. So my preference would be not to be doing this much anymore, because we've already done a fair amount of it, because I just really don't want an IRS agent showing up in my office one day asking why I was checking so many people's stimulus status. Although I suppose if my client has asked me to do it, then I'm an authorized user. But in any event, you hit OK, and it takes you to this page. You just fill in this basic information, and you know something? Let me do this. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to come back over here, enter my own information, this is a problem. I'm not sure it's going to acknowledge my address. I moved recently, and okay. Now, how do I go back to screen share? Share screen. Okay. So as you can see, in my case, it tells me I don't have a payment status. In my case, because I might not be eligible, which in fact I'm not. So that's all you have to do is enter that very basic information: Social Security number, date of birth, street address, even my brand new one, zip code, and they will give you a status. Now, sometimes the status is they don't know, which is actually the status they just gave me, although in my case they suggested a reason why they might not know. But there are a number of reasons why somebody may not have received a stimulus check yet. By far the most common is that they're taxpayers who use direct deposit but do not receive the direct deposit directly from the IRS because they receive some manner of a refund advance, a refund anticipation product, or they used a pay by refund product to pay their tax preparer. You know, it's funny because I always discourage the use of either of those things. In fact, I don't even offer a refund anticipation product anymore. I actually went to great expense to make it available 1 year and successfully talked every single one of my clients out of it because it is such a bad deal. It is such a ripoff. And frankly, the pay by refund, although it is something I offer, I aggressively discourage and very few of my clients use. But what happens with those products is your refund goes directly to the company that paid your tax preparer or issued you the loan. And then they take what they're entitled to and send you back and direct deposit the rest for you. The IRS, therefore, has been direct depositing stimulus checks with these companies. And it's my understanding that these companies, rather than direct depositing it to the people who they gave loans to, are simply returning the stimulus checks to the IRS. And now the IRS has to figure out what they're going to do. Keep in mind, they're all working from home. And ultimately, they are sending paper checks to these tax preparers, but they are very backed up. We also have the situation with people who only receive Social Security and therefore do not file a tax return or veterans benefits or something like that, that the IRS is only now getting to those people. They started with people who file taxes because that was easy for them. They get to work with their own database there. And when they more or less finished with those direct deposits, they moved on to the Social Security database and the other databases to get at these other people who receive government benefits, and thus they automatically have direct deposit information and other information on, but they have to use somebody else's database. So that slows things down. So those people were saved to the end. Keep in mind, the IRS can only issue so many paper checks at a time. And so anybody getting a paper check is waiting in a line that is very long. Now, they may be at the front of the line, but the line itself is very long. So some of those people may just be getting to the front now. I had somebody call me last week, actually, whose check was being mailed the next day, according to this tool. And you have that. You also have other situations. There are people like me who are simply not entitled. There are people who someone on their tax return has an ITIN number, and as a result, the stimulus check is being blocked. We have found, at least anecdotally, that people who owe the IRS money are having some trouble getting their stimulus checks, even though that is not supposed to happen. The only garnishment that can be put on a stimulus check is child support, but it does seem to be tripping up the IRS algorithm. The IRS is just not accustomed to giving money to people who owe them money, and they seem to be not so very good at it. There are certainly issues with dependents being claimed, where that dependent kind of jumps around from year to year and may already have been claimed by somebody else, perhaps on a 2018 tax return. So that can be an issue, because the IRS was looking at 2018 when there were no 2019 taxes filed yet. The filing deadline still hasn't approached. It's July 15, so that can be an issue. So there are a number of issues why you may not have received a stimulus check yet that are not particularly suspicious or particularly problematic. The IRS is not accepting phone calls on this subject. So like I say, there's really nothing that I can do more than what I just showed you, which is check this, get my payment site to see what is going on. So I hope that this offers some clarity on that, and I hope now that people can just kind of follow this themselves and go from there. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If so, I will be posting more. So please follow my YouTube channel or like me on Facebook, Lowell Lawyer, that's 3 L's, or they can just search Lewis Haskell, or check in with my website, attorneyhaskell.com. Until then, be strong and be safe, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.